Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of MTG Study Hall Social Distance Edition. Our apologies for the week delay in the show. Personal life stuff was crazy, but here we are to talk about Magic, and this gives us the opportunity to actually talk about the new cards as those new cards came out, at least on Arena, last Thursday. So, we got plenty to talk about. Before we do, we have a little bit of bookkeeping to take care of. So, first of all, if you want to support the show, liking us, or subscribing to us on Facebook, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch TV, it would be appreciated. All of those are at the respective websites /TCG University. We are also available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. 5-star ratings help us out. Telling people you know about us, sharing links, getting other viewers on the show, all of that helps us out a ton. We have some Patreon junior or higher sponsors. I'm going to run through real quick. We've got Addy, Andrew Dang, Anthony Albano, Bryce Rathsack, Clay Cardwell, Jacob Arson Masur, Jay Rogers, Jesse Servin, Jesse Morrison, Jesse Nix, Justin Farce, Kat Maria, Kevin Broberg, Kieran Vision, Kyle K, Lucinda Letica, Orlando Valdez Santos, Paul Casagrande, Ransom MacArthur, Samantha Stevens, the baddest bitch around, Sean O'Brien, Timothy Freelieb, Tamers Evolution TCG, and Tyler Zane Pease. We've also got a few great sponsors that we really appreciate that help us out. We've got Nuclear Ink Custom Tattoo and Skate Shop, Red Riot Games, Cards Custom Build, Inked Gaming, and Dex Protection. And there will be more on those later on in the show. So, there we are. That is all of that done. All right. And before we launch into the first thing we're going to talk about, we've got 3 weeks. JC, what have you been doing these past 3 weeks, Magic-wise?
Oh, in Magic, I've done a little bit of arena drafting, and I've done a little bit of buying packs on arena. Make sure to enter your code play Strixhaven, everyone. Get your packs.
And restorative burst for that time that we couldn't get XP.
Yep. So I've been doing that mostly. I finally got some. I got not a Garrison Cat, Charm Stray art in. I don't know if I said that last show, but I do have that in. Now I'm very happy about that, and otherwise, just like looking at my wallet sadly as like Secret Lair beckons me to spend more money on it.
Alrighty, Lily, what have you been up to?
Limited, sealed draft Strixhaven. I love the limited environment in Strixhaven. It's very interactive, very fun, and profoundly grindy. It feels like old Magic a little bit. Like when I say old Magic, I'm actually talking about like 2007, 2006, 2007.
Which at this point I think is old Magic now.
Yeah, like it is. The creatures are all like pretty high value. Like it's hard to place. There doesn't seem to be a lot of creatures that are just like filler, except the tokens. So like, I have a lot to talk about with limited for the set, so I'll hold off on that. But I've been doing that, and I've been playing Brawl for some reason. I finally beat that fucking Rainbow Bridge deck with my dumb Tibble Valky attrition. I'm gonna make you hate playing Magic to play against that deck.
Let's go.
It was Lord. Fix your shit. Stop printing 5-color legendary creatures that just print value every turn. Like, guys.
I was happy to see Cody. Cody seemed like a reasonable 5-color. I guess I haven't played against him.
Yeah, and Brawl. Like, Cody, I guess, is like super good in CEDH.
That is strange to me, but fair enough.
It's like a totally different format. Like,
yeah.
Like people think that CEDH is like high power regular EDH. It's not.
No.
But like he goes turn 3 him, turn 4 you play an impactful spell and hit another impactful spell. Like it's real good.
I mean, fair. Alrighty, and then as for me, not as much as I would have liked. Before Strixhaven came out, I got a chance to do the Arena Cube, and I was able to try that out on a tablet because Arena's on mobile now. So that was lovely. I ended up going 6-3. I would have gone 7-1 or 2, but there was a little bit of there was a couple things on the tablet I wasn't used to. So there was a couple games that I unfortunately punted, but it was still really nice to get to just lay around on my couch and poke around on my tablet. So that's one of the reasons I got into Hearthstone initially. So having a playable version. And yeah, tablet is way preferable over phone in my experience, but it's just a different experience, and I have to go downstairs and sit at the big desk and the rig and all the stuff. So I really like having it on the tablet. And then,
Did you kill them with Tendrils of Agony?
I did not, because the new set wasn't out, and I was excited to try the new set, and then I was ill this weekend, so I mostly curled up in a ball and wished I wasn't alive. I would get like a year without being sick, get the vaccine, and then apparently there's a stomach bug going around. So,
yeah.
Well, that was fine. It's passed. So I am now recovered. So I do plan on busting out some Strixhaven. I'm really excited to try to limit it out.
Oh God!
But I don't. So I've got lots of questions, but let's save that for a bit before we get into.
Before you get off the tablet, though, I am just curious. Like, does it feel good? Like, does pulling up the cards and everything? Does it feel sluggish? Just playing through everything? It feels pretty good.
No, I was using a fairly new tablet, so I can't speak to. It was one of the newer Samsung ones, I think. It felt really nice. It wasn't. I'd give the experience like a 7 or 8 out of 10. 7 just because I botched a couple games. Part of it was I was also in the farthest point in my house from Wi-Fi for a while, so there was a couple points where once I moved closer to, not on the full literal diagonal opposite between with 7 walls blocking, closer to my router, it was much smoother. I'd still say 8 out of 10. Like, Hearthstone feels great on a tablet. But Hearthstone was made to be played on a tablet. Hearthstone is the maximum number of creatures you can have is 7. Hearthstone, you drag each thing, and it's like an impactful It doesn't feel as good as Hearthstone, but it's Magic, so it doesn't need to feel as good as Hearthstone because it's more fun for me personally to play than Hearthstone. But no, I played the Arena Cube, so plenty of interesting cards and interactions, and for the most part, I really felt like I was able to draft on it. I was able to... Deck building was a little off, and it looks like they're working on being able to have the deck builder be in portrait and landscape orientations. But I did it all. I managed it. I managed a reasonable enough deck to do well. So yeah, no, it was a good experience, and I plan to laze around more and do drafts on the tablet. So, and honestly, that might be... I would not be surprised if the majority of me playing Arena slips onto me doing it on the tablet, because I just really like playing mobile games like that on a couch or around people instead of down here. I'm kind of cloistered into the setup. Yeah. So yeah, that was my Arena tablet experience.
Nice.
And
I haven't tried that out too much, so.
And I've done a little on my phone. It was passable. I played some games on my phone. I don't like playing detailed games on my phone. My vision's not great. It's fine. I would, again, much rather play a game on a console or a tablet or something like that. So yeah, there's my quick review of that. Before we talk about Strixhaven, we got some new Secret Lairs. So unless I've missed one recently, I believe we had 3 previewed. Now I'm desperately looking, which is great.
Yeah, we had the punk one. We had the archives that didn't make it into the main set, I guess, or that they've set aside separate, and then we have the lands.
So yeah, so we have mystical archives. So they're just like the Strixhaven mystical archives. They look fancy. They've got the same kind of treatment.
They're so good. All of them in that little supplemental one.
Oh, and we did get some more. Oh, and those. Okay, there we go. So we got those. We got the. Sorry, I was reading something. I'm about to repeat something you just said. I'm sorry. We had the music poster ones, which I loved. I loved the first ones they did, and so I'm thrilled they're doing more. Those are some of my favorite Secret Lairs. They did full text. They're doing full text basic land. So they've pulled up just a ton of the rules text that comes with what a basic land represents. There's no art on it. It's all text.
And it's the best. It's not reminder text. There's some reminder text, but it's actually useless rules text.
Yeah, it's it tells you what tapping is. It explains when you can and can't play lands, the basicest of just absurd, unnecessary. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you explain to a new player in the first few sentences of teaching the game. Hey, this is a basic land. This is how you pay for your spells. When you tap it, it makes this color, and that's how you pay costs. There you go. I just explained lands to a new player. This is an entire card of just superfluous, unnecessary text This is everything we've been asking for since everyone made the initial joke of full art lands. What about full text lands? This is perfect. This is everything Secret Lair should be, Wizard. I'm going to buy these. I'm going to put them in Borborygmos, and I'm going to throw them at things. I'm so happy.
Oh man,
this is this is the first time I've been tempted to buy more than one of a Secret Lair.
I also think it's a very good example of how rules work goes on behind the scenes in Magic.
No, it's cute, it's fun, it's nice that they didn't have to it's actual games rules stuff. You don't need it in that spelled out, but it's nice that it's there. The other thing that I'm literally learning about now is we got some leaks a few weeks ago of Shockland Secret Lair arts. So there's going to be a Shockland Secret Lair. The good news is it isn't going to be like an overpriced land box like the other ones were. The bad news is it's like Shock's Bant. So it's a Secret Lair and it's the Bant, 3 Bant Shock lands. So they aren't giving us 5 or 10. So it's
How
3
much
Shock
for 3?
$30. So $10 a Shock land.
Okay. For a unique art, okay. And you could get this is my commander deck. I want that one.
Yeah, and the arts are cool. They're all in different planes, which is neat. That's fine. I'm not thrilled. I'm not furious. $10 per land is okay.
So I think what they should have done, if they're going to split them up like that, are there 10 different 3-color options?
I don't know. I'm assuming there's probably 5. I saw that link. I'm currently checking.
Well, what they should have done is had all of the Bant color ones be different planes, but be different planes like LA and ES planes, right? And for example, the Hallowed Fountain in that one would not be the same as the Hallowed Fountain in the Esper one. They represent different planes.
So this is
Cool.
Bant, Esper, Grixis, John Denaya is how they're doing it.
Yeah, okay. Those are the terms.
Okay, so there will be some doubling up then.
Yeah.
If you get all 5.
Right. But you'll have 3 of each if you get all 5.
And there is a bundle. Oh, that's in Euro. For some reason this took me to a different language, so that's in Euro. So it's 130 euros for all 5. So what? $150 is a discount.
The same.
So 15 Shocklands, $150, $10 a Shockland.
Yeah,
okay. I can do math.
They're $5, $6, $7, and they have been since the most recent Ravnica set, I think.
And it looks like you can get the whole kit and or caboodle for $260. It looks like, and that's all the shock stuff. That's full text land, full text foil lands, the music stuff, Strixhaven and Strixhaven foils.
Have they fixed the Pringle problem yet?
Probably not.
It's again. I got 2 boxes of set boosters and opened those. The foils and the standard foils in the set boosters seemed pretty okay. I haven't checked on them. I have some collector's boosters coming in at hopefully some point in the coming week. And those have some etched foil treatments, so I'll be able to update people what set booster foils, collector booster foils, and collector booster etched foils are looking like. I've been getting Secret Lairs trickling in. They're somewhat curved. Not so much that if I threw some sleeves on them and stacked them in a deck, I couldn't get them looking okay. About as bad as they have been in my experience, Secret Lair-wise. I've been ordering the non-foil option. I've been appreciative that there almost consistently has been a non-foil option.
Yeah.
This is maybe a whole post-show topic, so I'll throw out briefly. I wouldn't be mad. Etched foils seem to curl less. I wouldn't be sad if we replaced foils with etched foils. I like the etched foil treatment. I don't think the regular foil treatment's all that much better. Or honestly, I kind of prefer etched foils. It's more different. It's more of a departure. If Wizards completely switched over to it and the quality was higher, I'd be a happy camper. But that's a whole rabbit's hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, because not getting in the weeds or anything like that, but by and large, Wizards is kind of stuck with what they got. They can't change card stock without it feeling different. They can't do anything to the like treat the cards without it
Well,
feeling different, and that can create problems for tournaments and such.
old foils were better. Other card games have less curled foils. I would imagine that with more money, they could make the foil problem less. I imagine that they are working on it to a degree. We're seeing a lot of experimentation. I don't want to cut them too much slack because you can do better than they're doing.
They have done better than they're doing.
Yeah,
that's true.
They've done better than they're doing. But at the same time, I like seeing what they're doing with etched foils and things like that. So I'm tentatively hopeful.
Right.
So go ahead.
One of the reasons I never really dug foils, even when they weren't shitty, right, is because, like, whether a card looks good as a foil is, like, a hit or a miss anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you, like, use foiling to accent certain parts of the card, it's almost always going to look good because you have control over what you're doing.
Yeah, so again, big fan of the etched foils and, like, and that's the other thing. I understand it's nice to have everything available for foil. I'm not saying get rid of foil commons, but I'm more here for, I'd rather have a specialty blinged out Secret Lair or Mystical Archive kind of specialty card foil than just, like, caring about my whole deck being foiled. And honestly, I kind of prefer, like, I prefer art treatments. I'd rather have if it was, do I want a foil Wrath of God, or would I rather have a non-foil, like, movie poster, band poster Wrath of God? I'd rather have the specialty art one. I really like the Collector Booster extended arts a lot. Particularly now that they are adding more art instead of just zooming the picture in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Oh, so that.
Oh, I was just saying I agree.
So I mean, it's Secret Lair. Unless they pull any of that nonsense, and there's a whole other topic. Unless they pull any of that nonsense that got mentioned in that survey, it's Secret Lair. It's been what the other ones have been. If you like them, buy them. If you don't. Could it be better? Yeah. Could it be worse? Absolutely, it could be worse. So, yeah. And again,
Secret Lair, they're like, oh man, I don't know. I like them. I like them a lot, and they're like, if you look at the card costs individually, like, you're talking about, like, the Shocklands, like, it's not bad, but damn, like, you could spend a lot of money on these cards.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Wizards is clearly set, like, they're going to lower some prices. They're not going to radically shift stuff. I'm not saying print them for $1. Would it have been nice to have the secret, get let's say 2 Secret Lairs? You get 5 of the lands, and it's $30. So the lands are like $5 to $7. Yes, that would be nice. That would be a cool thing. It would also be like, okay, you want to spend enough to get a play set of all of these. It would have just made it more reasonable. So, like, that's the thing. They could have been cheaper. They decided not to do it. And I mean, we have a secondary market. I'm not here to put local game shops out of business by crashing. Not an expert economy, but I mean, I think the best way to treat Secret Lairs is if you like something they're doing, get it. Don't feel. There's so many at this point. Like, try to fight the FOMO if you don't care. If you see something, that's the thing. It's like when they did more Mystical Archives, I was like, none of those cards are jumping out at me. When they did the movie posters, I was like, sign me up. When I saw the full text lands, I was thrilled and giddy.
Yeah.
So, like, follow what brings you joy on those is my best advice for Secret Lair.
Yeah, there's definitely worse ways to spend your money, honestly. If you love it, I've bought a lot of them, so I'm one to talk.
I mean, in Commander deck wise, if 3 colored land bases sort of suck, so here's $30. You know you like playing Bant decks. There you go. Your next Bant deck has a matching Shocklands. They should do this with the fetch lands. They should do this at the same price with the fetch lands. Wizards do this with the fetch lands. They won't, but
yeah. There's no reason. Like,
I mean, yeah, why sell to us for $30 when they can sell it to us for $200?
Yeah, like, it annoys me that they're even I wish they just would not regard the secondary market at all.
Yeah, no, it would have. Yeah, that's the thing. It's my problems with Secret Lair stem from the original price structure setting, but it's generally blingy stuff. I was furious when they did mechanically unique cards via Secret Lair. The full text lands, in my opinion, are what they should be doing. we should be paying for wacky different art treatments that they're paying artists for. We should be paying for dumb, ridiculous things like this one's full of bees every land, but there's 20 bees on each one, or full text. Like that's what I want. That's what I'm here for.
It is worth mentioning that like the Mystical Archive Secret Lair is comparable to the other Secret Lairs. It's just that the fact that we got the Mystical Archives in the main set is ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's actually a good transition point to talking about Strixhaven.
Oh
it's insane that they did that. Like,
I love it.
I haven't played a ton of Limited, so I won't be able to. I'll just have questions for that. But when I opened 2 set booster boxes, double rare pack. First off, set boosters are fun because you can get double and triple rare packs just with them. When there's an extra, there was extra 2 slots dedicated to, because there's a lesson slot and there's a mythic lesson you can get. It's like, I was opening 4 or 5 rare packs. I ended up with 2 set boosters, got me like 90 plus rares and mythics or something. Like, it felt like a very nice bang for my buck. One of which was Food Chain. So
Yeah,
that felt, at first I was like, this is looking okay. I didn't get like the exact cards I wanted. I will buy singles. I know, buy singles if you want specific cards. I was just trying to like get some of the cards so I could slot them into decks. I didn't get this exact single I want. It's like Food Chain, fine, whatever. That's cool. That's like a $60 card. There's some really neat list cards, but I'm going on to set boosters. But
is it the new border?
Nope. Old. It's just all the cards from the list are their original border with the little planeswalkery bottom corner guy. So it's the Alliance's old border.
How did I not know that? Anyway.
But yeah, it's insane that they put Mystical Archives in there. It's insane that they just printed a bunch of non-standard legal instants and sorceries. How is Limited with those cards?
It's so much fun. Holy shit. Like, it's so good. I love it. Like, I don't know, because it's like, the games don't feel repetitive. Like, sometimes there are archetypes that I feel like would be exhausting to play against. But because of the archives, I don't think I've had the same game experience twice.
Okay.
And can I just say, too, the Mystical Archives, like, the treatment on those cards, like, yeah, those are beautiful.
They are so pretty. They are my favorite, mechanically, it's my favorite thing they've ever done. It's just, here's Limited, plus a bunch of extra powerful cards that are way above the curve because you're wizards at your wizard school. And then, like, the art, the whole style, the aesthetics of the cards are so great and something we just wouldn't see on a Magic card outside of a Secret Lair.
And I know we've had, over the past year or so, we've had a lot of discussion and debate about what juicing up standard sets means and the complications and the issues and the advantages. I'm so happy they're just like, yeah, they're non-standard cards. There's just Lightning Bolt and Sword to Plowshares. They aren't standard. That doesn't change their legality.
Right.
Even, like, I love it, and the fact that, like, okay, yeah, they're on Arena. It doesn't change Historic. No, well, it does change Historic, unless we don't want it to. We don't want Bolt and Historic, it's just banned. It's preemptively banned.
Rain is. I
mean, Brainstorm is, which there's only one fetch land, so I'm curious how, like, insane that is. But, like, no, it's just, this is what Wizards has been building to, and I appreciate the tests and things like the list to test it out. This is perfect. This is exactly what, I think this is, I mean, again, I haven't played it, but, like, I've opened the packs, and it felt really nice to go, because I like the swaggy stuff. But I mostly play Commander, so I don't need swaggy standard cards. But like, ooh, here's a new Lightning Bolt. That'll go in. Here's a Crux of Fate. I'll run that in Commander. It's a big stack of cards I'll run in Commander.
Well, not just that. And here's an element to it that I think is important, right? So you remember when we started playing, and there were all those really powerful older cards that were just not available.
Yeah.
Like Counterspell. Like, it's not expensive. It's not hard to get, especially now. But, like, when we were younger and we just had the cards that we had.
Yeah, I mean, you could go to a game store and pay $3 if you dug it out of a bin. But at that time, paying $3 for a Magic card seemed absurd.
Right.
Plus, it's just...
But like, what I'm saying, though, with this is that, like, having the archive in the main set means that for casual players, these older, powerful cards are cards that are going to be in front of them.
Yeah.
And they're just going to put them in their decks. And nothing bad is going to, because just whatever, just do it.
It's like so nostalgic just to see things like counterspell, memory lapse, negate, opt. Like, see these kind of cards like come back around and get this like beautiful treatment and get to like just be like casually put into the deck and like nothing's broken about it. It's just like nice to have them. It's nice to be playing in like, you know, these kind of formats and see this like and see them brand new again. It's really cool and I'm really enjoying it.
No, it's like, first of all, any format with Bolt is a good format in my eyes, so I'm excited to try out Limited. And Shock! Oh. And can I just say, like, the flavor text? Like, the flavor text on Wrath of God, where it's talking about how, like, this spell's too powerful, we shouldn't let people have it, put it in the restricted section and, like, throw away the reference code. Like, it's so great. Like, Crux of Fate, outside of the issues with the art that happened on that card... a
whole plagiarism was that.
Two entire plagiarisms on one card. But like, the list is okay at this. The list sometimes has a really neato card, but the list will sometimes just have some random ass like, here's a common from alliances, and it's like, what? So like, the list, I'm new. The list in Set Boosters is interesting. I think it can be refined to be made more interesting and more effective. This is the maximum level of effective.
Yeah.
There's a weird looking card. What's Crux of Fate? Well, Nicol Bolas and Ugin are fighting in this art. Well, what's that about? Well, why don't you check out all of these stories? So it's just such a good opportunity to be like, hey y'all, remember these cards? What's Storm? Well, here's Storm. You know, here, it's Storm. We're just putting cards with Storm.
Right.
They're not in standard.
There are three of them.
They put cards with Storm into a standard booster pack. They know they aren't standard legal, but it's just so cool. How's the limited Storm kill? I'm so jealous.
Oh God! So, I mean, what happened was I had a pool where I opened Mizzix Mastery, and I opened which had only been printed in a Commander set up until now. That needed a reprint, and then I opened a Tendrils of Agony. And I'm just like, and I looked at my lands and I had like a Snarl and like 3 of the Prismari campuses and a bunch of other playable like control cards. And I'm like, I'm going to force Grixis. And I went like 7-2. And there were like half my games I won just by casting Mizzix Mastery with relevant spells in the graveyard. But like, I had the one game where I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I did it, and then I had like an opt, and I had like a bunch of other cantrips, and then I just untap, Mizzix Mastery, play all of these, play Tendrils, get 10 copies, dead. It felt so good.
Can I just say, Mizzix Mastery, yeah, the Archive is an opportunity to reprint cards that need reprinting. Phenomenal. Yeah. I don't think I've ever lost a Commander game I overloaded a Mizzix Mastery in. It's just so good.
It's a good card. Like, it's a fun card. Like, you can't make a weird recursive loop with it. Generally, you're running cards that point for point aren't as good in Commander because they're spells. Like, yeah, there are more powerful spells in older formats, but like, those don't scale up to Commander.
I mean, unless you run that one card where everybody votes and you get to steal something or you get an extra turn and then you Mizzix Mastery that. Or does that card exile?
Oh,
I shouldn't reminisce about Warcry.
Yeah.
Expropriate, yeah.
I don't know if it but like no, like it's a good feeling, and anytime you can do that, and there are like 3 of my games I did that while I had 2 of the deal 5 damage to a thing and then look at the top 5 and pick one. And I'm just like, sorry.
JC, how was your limited experience with it?
It's amazing. Like, so, I just want to say Magecraft is great. Good golly. Like, a Clever Luminancer. So, Clever Luminancer is a white card that costs 1 that has Magecraft, and it gets 2/2 until end of turn. And so, you're And the Magecraft is like when you cast a spell or an artifact or a copy of spell. So like there's a lot of good quality spells. There's a lot of spells that give like counters and do cool effects that like gain you cards and stuff like that. And then you're just pumping this creature that you could put out on first turn with like spells that you can also play for just like 1 mana. So by turn 3, you can like swing an 8/8 at them and stuff like that. Like it's dumb, man. What was the other one that was? Hold on. Oh yeah, Archmage Emeritus. He's 2 blue, and he's got Magecraft. That when what does he do? Let's see. Oh, you draw a card on him.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, remind me, is that good?
No.
Is drawing card good?
Like, it is good, but the card is like... It is not as good as Vidalcan Archmage, which I think comparison because they're both 2 toughness creatures for blue, and 2 that are archmages that draw you a card when you do a thing that's relevant to their archetype.
I'm just saying, y'all are getting me real jazzed for this limited environment.
Oh.
I need to play this.
Do you know what else triggers what's the ability word called, JC, that you just mentioned? I forgot.
Magecraft.
Do you know what else triggers Magecraft?
I believe copying spells does.
Storm.
Yeah. So it's whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, and there's a lot of cards that have Magecraft on them that like they just feel like they would slot so well into like especially like a commander deck that's like you're running a lot of like green like ramp like wild growths and stuff like that, like or even just like white weenie decks and stuff like that, like where you're putting 1/1s on things and you're casting I'm loving Magecraft. I think it's cool now. It's fun to play with, especially with the archive and a lot of these like good quality old spells, and it's going to continue to be very cool in Commander and other formats.
Oh, I had a Faithless Looting in that pool too.
With the incredible art.
Hey, I appreciate it more than I did.
I had to talk to an art professional about it and get her opinion on it.
Kelsey?
Which was interesting. And it is a much more interesting piece. The artwork's I don't think it was a good decision to put it on a Magic card. The entire piece looks more coherent, and the artist's other pieces I prefer. I'm not a huge fan of that Faithless Looting, but it's so weird I will be running it at any opportunity.
I dig it now.
I don't love it, but damn, I'm going to be playing it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ironically playing that art. I don't know if it matters, but it's interesting. We're talking about it, so there you go.
You do things ironically until you figure out you actually like them.
That art, yeah. I'm gonna put it up. Hold on.
I think I dabbed earlier in the show, so there you go.
You don't even think about it.
I don't. I just do it. So there we are.
It's post irony.
Post irony or post irony?
Oh, both.
Okay, yeah.
Post irony is when we talk about post irony.
Good lord. No, this set seems awesome, and can I just say that I'm really happy to see like them pushing instant sorcery matters into like colors that don't normally get it. So like one of the cat's been playing a Professor Onyx Brawl deck, and I think that's going to be like the first thing I build because I like big 6 mana planeswalkers. And just as a control player, I like when my win con is baked into something that I always have available.
Also, she's hot,
but I can't like open with that. But yeah, damn, for real though.
Oh god.
Also, in the limited environment, so say you're playing a draft, you can get a reasonable sideboard of lessons, and there's a lot of really good learn cards, and there's some pretty decent lessons. So like, you can really just get like you naturally glean a number of cards that just have learn printed on it, and because you're playing limited and like your sideboard is all kind of like extra anyway, just pick up like lessons and throw them in your sideboard, and it's great.
Okay.
How does learn play? I'm really curious to see how feelings on learn.
I found it harder to use when drafting. I found it hard to justify picking lessons as my picks.
Okay. I'm curious if there's archetypes that care about it more. Like, I'm curious when, like, and I mean, I think I'm very excited for it because it's another dimension to the draft. Because it's where do you value? Is this an excellent card, or I can take a learn, like, I've got let's say there's a great 3-drop in this pack, but my 3-drop slot's full. do I take this 3-drop and try to go heavy on 3-drops, or do I say let's take the learn and try to prioritize the lesson and take prioritize that? So I'm very curious to try it out. Also, I'm interested to see what I have not touched Strixhaven, so I'm curious what best of one standard is shaping up. Also, quick side note: Wizards changed best of one on arena sideboarding rules. You only get access to 7 cards. I think that was an excellent decision. Yeah. I think that was the right decision. People whining that they don't get a 15-card wish board in best of one can deal with it.
Right. But no, I really, really like the limited play of the set. I used lessons pretty, I never felt bad about them once I had them. But picking them in draft is kind of feels bad, man. I do really like. I want to build a cube of this set so bad.
Ooh, okay,
maybe,
wow.
Maybe weave in some stuff from Conspiracy, the draft stuff from it, since it's a cube. But I really, really want to make a cube of this set because the limited play is so good.
Now that is an endorsement if I have ever heard one. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I have. I've been so busy and sick recently, but yeah, I need to take some damn time and
play it while you're going to be opening them. But the thing is, when I open a Mystical Archive card that's not going in Historic, it's well, this is my chance to play it.
Yeah. No, I'm still, I have not in my life have not had a ton of opportunity to play Tendrils of Agony.
But yeah, that legitimately, I want to once it's out in paper, I want to build a paper cube of it because the limited is good, and I want to keep having access to that format.
I might snag a box or two of draft boosters, which I haven't bought draft boosters since set boosters came out. Well, I guess I bought them if I want to draft something. So
yeah, I was gonna buy a box of draft boosters probably.
I'll probably do the same just because this is sounding great. And
we also have more people playing Magic than we did before the quarantine. Have access to.
Do you have any idea how many premier sets I have sitting on a shelf just waiting to? I've got a mystery booster box. I've got a conspiracy booster box. I got a lot.
We're drafting in June, right?
Yeah. Once everyone's vaccinated, we're drafting.
Okay.
Anyway,
that's where I'm at. So.
Any final thoughts on Strixhaven before we take a quick break and move on, JC?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't have the same kind of negative experience about lessons that you necessarily did, Lily. I had a lot of fun with it, actually. Because I felt like it was pretty easy that you get to the point when you're drafting that, grabbing, one lesson card is, a choice that you can make among, crappy choices, and then you just stick it in your sideboard, and then invariably there's learn printed on enough cards that you will get to play that lesson, and you can, grab a basic land or, draw some cards off of it.
Right. Maybe that's why I'm not doing great in draft, and I'm doing good in sealed. I might be undervaluing them, but,
No, it seems like a complicated set, which I like me a nice. Ikoria was my most recent favorite set because there was a lot going on there. So,
I don't know. This set might just be engineered to hit all the right buttons for me.
Is it are you gravitating towards 2-color or 3-color?
For draft,
just general, draft.
I think you're drafting 2 colors. You might splash a third. Sealed, you're going to be playing 3 colors.
Okay, because I know with enemy colors you end up with shard. I'm trying to think how it works.
Yeah, Mardu, Sultai,
wedges. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so in the enemy colors,
there's enough cards with split cost mana, you could pay red or blue.
The hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, the hybrid mana. Sorry, I couldn't think of the term. There's enough cards with that on there too that drafting in 2-color and then being able to splash in those cards that have the different mana costs is easy enough because there's enough of them. Yeah. So
I would not undervalue the other thing is I feel like people undervalue the pest tokens, especially.
Those are the ones that gain you life when they die.
Yeah.
Just enough stuff that wants to interact with the life gain that they have a higher value. Okay.
And in the black green stuff, there's that black green instant that you sack a creature and you get casts equal to its power. Like that's really good.
Oh yeah,
Displays the removal spell. And then there's the one that copies itself for each creature you sacrifice as a cost to it. Like there's some interplay between those two.
No, I'm quite. I will by next episode I will be able to report back because I'm going to be playing some of this.
It's a lot of fun, and then you'll want to make a cube of it with me and
okay.
Have the entire thing.
I'm you can get into cubing. JC, I'm sorry, I cut you.
No, it's quite okay. Sorry, Discord's hard. We've all been living in a people are on mute or like lag creates difficult pause breaks in conversation land for a year.
Yeah.
I feel like Magecraft is pretty strong for its cost. So for instance, Dragon's Guard Elite costs 1 in green, and it's whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And the Luminous gets Clever Luminancer gets 2/2 until end of turn and just costs 1 for 0/1. The Dragon's Guard is 2/2. I don't know, like I just feel I'm getting the feeling that like this feels good. It feels like real good, and have you got the impression at all that it feels too strong for how much it costs?
No, it's not too strong. It feels like the way that they pushed Landfall specifically during Zendikar Worldwing.
I feel like it's stronger than Landfall though, because Landfall doesn't.
Not Zendikar Worldwing.
Fair. I just feel like Magecraft like can push itself into later in the game and still have value more than Landfall could.
Well, here and again, I haven't played, so this is maybe just a guess, but when synergy is working right, a lot of times it feels like you're doing something like against the rules.
Yeah.
So that might just be a good sign of like the synergy is so there that it's like, this must be too good because how can I do all of these sweet things? And that's interesting because instants and sorceries was always going to be how do you do the instants and sorceries set? Because you don't. I'm biased when I come to limited. I am very much. I'm going to run a lot of creatures. I'm going to run some removal. Like whenever I can, I'm going to draft green red. I'm going to play creatures. I'm going to turn them sideways. So I'm never going for those spell slinger archetypes in limited, and so I'm interested to try it out. And I'm glad to hear that. No, it feels so good and it feels so strong.
Well, and so you know what slowed down the whole limited environment? Like the red-white archetype is a grindy mid-range value churn.
Oh, I'm so jazzed. Okay, I will report back next week after this. We have to move on. There's other stuff to talk about. Before we do that, we have a quick commercial break. We will be right back after this quick word from our sponsors.
Hi, and welcome to the ads. This week we are brought to you by Cards Custom Builds. Are you into cosplay? Are you looking to get into cosplay? In the future, do you want to show up at your favorite event dressed up as your favorite character? Well, then Card Custom Builds is here to help. Cards Custom Builds creates everything from props and trinkets and weaponries all the way up to full costumes. I've seen some of the costumes that they made. They are all fantastic. They're really good stuff. If you would like to get some awesome things for your cosplay or just cool stuff to have around, if you want to throw a Halloween party at the end of the year and be like the talk of your Halloween party, please go check out Cards Custom Builds over at Facebook and tell them about TCG University. Say that we sent you and you'll get 5% off your entire order. Please do this. They do a bunch of things over there. Clay is making a lot of really cool stuff. He makes coasters too. If you want to go get coasters, I think he's selling them on Etsy and on Facebook. So please, if you want to get some cool stuff for your cosplay or for anything, go check out Cards Custom Builds and tell them that we sent you. This week, we are also brought to you by Dex Protections. Dex Protections is in a never-ending pursuit to create the highest quality storage and protection accessories. Their designs and innovation come from die-hard gamers and collectors just like you, so you know that what they make is stuff that you will want to buy because they are also making stuff that they would want to buy. They are on a never-ending pursuit to create the best product, and that is why they are the leader in the industry in creating accessories for your deck products. Please, if you would like to go get some new stuff for when we're finally able to go out into public and go to tournaments and stuff, go to Dex Protections, and there'll be a link down in the description down below for that. Please go check them out. We're also brought to you this week by Red Ride Games. They're a Canada-based online seller of things like universes, MTG, and Pokemon. They're friends of the show. We like them a whole lot. Please, 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 please go to redratgames.ca and check out all their singles there. And when you check out, use creator code TCGU to help support the show and help support them. It would be greatly appreciated. We like them a whole lot, and we would love it if you would use them to buy some singles for any upcoming tournaments that you might have towards the end of the year. Lastly, we are brought to you by Nuclear Ink Custom Tattoo and Skate Shop. At Nuclear Ink, you will find a very inclusive environment with artists that share interest in nerd culture and fandoms alike. Nuclear Ink prides themselves on Omaha's premier all-custom tattoo shop. If you are in the area and looking to get a custom tattoo, please check out Nuclear Ink here in Omaha. Link in the description down below. They're cool guys. We like them a whole lot. Yeah, they're really awesome. Please, if you're in the Omaha area and you want to get a tattoo, please go check them out. Thank you. We'll get back to the show.
And we are back. So something we're going to discuss here, and this is definitely a topic that has come up on previous shows, but I wanted to make sure we focused on it, and if I can't remember all the topics we've covered. If we're covering it again, it's a good reminder. It's something that everyone playing the game should think about, and that is the concept of playing to your outs. A friend of mine recently started playing the game, and reached out to me and asked me to define what playing to your outs is. And so if you guys are okay with it, I was going to throw a definition out to the audience, and then if y'all disagree or want to build on that or tell me that I'm a damn fool, I would invite that and welcome it. So, playing to your outs is now generally I think it's something that you should be thinking about most of the time, but particularly when you're on the back foot of a game, when you maybe aren't winning. And in the simplest term, it's thinking about what your remaining paths to victory are. So while you should always be thinking about your path to victory and how you think you're going to close the game out, it's particularly important when things are going poorly. It's trying to always think about what actions am I going to take to lead to victory, because you need sometimes, if you're just playing, I'll just play smart, I'll play this way or I'll play a certain way, that isn't going to let you win, even if maybe in a vacuum a move would be the right choice. So here's a good example. Or here's an example. I think I'm going to use an example I tried to do. So let's say you're kind of playing the aggressive deck, and you've been able to chisel your opponent down, and your opponent is down to 5, let's say. But then they manage to really gum the board up. And so they've got a lot of creatures, and so I need to think to myself, how am I going to get that last 5? And let's say I'm playing mono red, because I'm me. So I know my creatures, and let's say my creatures aren't going to be enough to punch through. They've got too big of defenders, they've killed enough, I don't have a lot of card draw in my deck, so there's no way I'm going to get more attackers than they have blockers. Well, I'm going to think, how do I win my game? Well, I know that I have Lightning Strike in my deck. Lightning Strike being 3 damage instant for red and 1. So I could say, I'm going to make decisions and play out the game to see if I can get to my Lightning Strike. So if I do have any cards that do give me card advantage or give me card filtering, I'm going to start filtering for my Lightning Strikes. If my opponent plays a lifelink creature, then I might need to make sure I prioritize getting that killed or making so they can't gain too much life and get out of my Lightning Strike range. Another good example of, and this happens a lot in Limited, I was playing in that Arena Cube, one of the cards I got was a red X spell. It was the one that can't be countered if X is 5 or more. I'm totally blanking on the name right now. Red and X damage to any target, can't be countered or prevented if it's over a certain amount. Alright, it's gone, but
it's a lot of Tarkin with his hands making the dragon, right?
Yes, yep. That's the art. A lot of Limited games where, you're on the aggressive foot early, but then they get enough down that you go, okay, my creatures aren't going to get through. They've got walkers out. They've got some way for that. I'll just start playing to try to draw that card. So my focus becomes, I don't care about committing to the board, or maybe I'm going to use my aggressive creatures to block. And normally, I wouldn't want to use my 2/2 with haste to block. But it's that 2/2 with haste isn't going to get through their 5/5 defender, and my burn spells aren't going to burn that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play and drag the game out until I can try and draw that card. The Lightning Strike being, the 2 Lightning Strikes in this hypothetical scenario, being my out of the game.
Here's a more concise version of that example.
Oh,
right?
please.
So your opponent's at 5 life. You know you've got a couple lightning strikes back in your deck. You've got creatures on the board. They could block a bunch of them. But if you attack with everything, sure, every one of your creatures is going to die except maybe 1 or 2. But you can get 2 more damage in. So it doesn't matter how hard they can hit you back for, or that you now have a creature on the board. If you can get that 2 more damage, and then you draw lightning strike next turn, they will be dead. Now, you can't tunnel vision. Sometimes you have to keep multiple outs in mind. But if you're in a position where, like, well, they have more threats on the board, they're going to wear me down, they're drawing extra cards every turn. The only way you're seeing yourself winning the game is by creating basically playing to your outs is playing the game in such a way that creates a circumstance where you can win.
Yep.
Yeah, if I may too, like if anybody is a person that watches poker at all or plays poker, there's a concept called counting your outs. So a good example of this is, for instance, if you have a flush draw with a 4 of hearts in your hand, there will be 9 other hearts outs that you could get in subsequent card draws to make your hand.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually a concept in a lot of different card games, and poker definitely has playing to your outs as well. I would also posit that playing to your outs is why cards like Final Fortune or Take Another Turn After This One are popular, because you have that answer somewhere in your deck and you're just like digging for it, and you know you have a certain number of lightning bolts, or I have 4 lava axes somewhere.
Like in the same way that winning at 1 life is the same as winning at 20 life, winning when you would have lost next turn is the same as winning when you would have lost 10 turns from now.
And now and I want to throw an example out there. Now this is going to be a little more complicated, but this is one that me and Lily did together as a team. We were at the Battle for Zendikar pre-release, which was a 2-headed giant set. Yeah, it was the Gatewatch. Yes, that was the 2-headed giant focus one. So there was a mechanic called, it was Surge, right?
Yes.
And Surge was cheaper if it was the second spell that you or your team had cast. And generally the Surge cost was cheaper and could do more. So the Fall of the Titans, that was the card, right?
Yeah.
That's why that was, and that's why I just realized why that's why you wanted that to be.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a red sorcery. It costs XX in red. Its surge cost is X in red, and it does X damage to each of up to two
targets, which is great in 2-headed giant because each head can be a target. So if you pick each opponent and you do 5 damage, it's 10 damage to their total team life.
So like in 2-headed giant, as just an X burn spell, it's, you spend your 1 red, but then you get a point of damage for each red you spend. If you can get the surge, you're doubling up.
So me and 2-headed giant, you can share hands. I believe I had the card in my hand, but so me and Lily were on the back foot in this game aggressively, and so we discussed and we realized the only way coming out was for us to get a huge one of those off. And so I needed to draw a land, and Lily needed to draw a spell that she could cast. And so we on the final turn. So we'd spent several turns making our decisions based completely on, we need this spell to work. So I got it at some point, or I'd had it. It's been a little bit. But then we had our perfect draw where I had the land. Well, I drew the land, and you drew the spell to cast, because we both needed to top deck the right thing.
No. So I had a spell in my hand. So this is where it can sometimes be unintuitive playing to your outs. So I could play the creature, right? And have something on the board, buy us some more time, block something, whatever, just get the value out there. But I knew that I would need to for sure have a spell to cast when Brett has enough mana to do the lethal surge.
That's right.
So the value play would have been to play it and get some value out of it, and then it dies and whatever. But the correct play in that situation, because we had talked and we're like, we have no other, this is it. This is the only way we could win. And it ended up working out. And
we got Xaxes, we won that game. So yeah, and now when you're in the lead on the game, it's outs is more, in my experience, when I think playing to my outs, I'm more thinking about it when I'm on my back foot. Now, it relates to having your game plan, knowing how you intend to win the game. bringing your opponent to
Well-
0 generally. Well, go ahead.
When you're at parity or when you're ahead, the element of the game dynamic that you're focusing more on is the clock.
Yeah.
Not the literal timer, but like the turn clock. It's like how many turns until I win if this holds versus how many turns would they kill me.
And this is the way you think about it. I would say you want to think about outs at that point is when you're in the lead and you're in that place, you need to think about your opponent's outs, how you're winning the game. What is my opponent going to do that's going to stop me?
Right.
I've got a turn 3 clock. I've got this. What's going to stop me? Is a board wipe going to stop me? Is this creature going to stop me? Is them killing this one of my creatures going to stop me or slow me down? So it's always something to be thinking about. But yeah, it's a different dynamic when you're ahead. When you're behind, you need to think about, what am I doing? This is the trick that helps me if you're trying to do this, because you need to really know your deck. And so when you're new and you're focusing on learning the game, it can be a harder thing to be thinking about. My deck and then my opponent's outs, that's a lot of variables. This is also a tip for people when to know you've lost the game. And that is, if you could pick your deck up and you could look at all the cards in your deck and put it back down in any order. If you could do that, what would you do? And if the answer is obvious, I'd go put my lightning strike on top. I'd go get this. Well, that's your out. And if the answer is nothing, I could do nothing. I could pick any card out of my deck. I could choose what card I drew for the rest of this game and I'd still lose. Quit. Concede. Wrap that one up because it's lost.
Right.
Now, this is, again, for newer people, generally arena, if you're moving along. I do think it can be good to play games out, but that is my recommendation for how to start developing this skill, is to know your deck well enough to go, let me pick this up. What could I get? And if you're playing with someone you know and you're playing in person and it's casual and you're on that back foot, you could even ask, hey, can I do this? Would it be okay with you? I looked at my deck. Even if they don't want you to check it out of order, if you say, yeah, you probably have me here. Mind if we play this out and I could try this? Then you can start thinking about what are your outs and how does that function. And so to do that, you do have to really start to understand what your cards are. But that's just the more you play a deck, the more you're going to get a handle on that.
Right.
And it can get more complicated if you have card advantage engines. Well, if I put this card here and this card here and I would draw them both in the same turn, then I could do it. But even that is thinking about your outs. It's thinking about, how do I come out of this? And I think the example where this person, like this friend of mine, was playing against a Nethroi deck, and it felt like the Nethroi deck just kept coming back in Brawl, kept coming back out of nowhere. And Nethroi is great at doing that. So the Nethroi lets you reanimate 10 power of cards from your yard when you evolve it onto something. And so that's a good that Nethroi player playing to your Nethroi outs might be prioritizing graveyard growth, prioritizing keeping an evolved creature, prioritizing hitting your land drops, making sure that even if you're at 3 or 4 life, you can stick that Nethroi on turn 8, flip a ton of stuff back, gain a bunch of life, gain a bunch of value, and take your win.
Sometimes, with that kind of deck, it's also making blocks that look like bad blocks so that creatures die.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's, not killing things when you have a chance. Like there's a lot of different ways to play Magic, and one of the reasons that combat is so hard is because there's just so many moving parts. Like blocking and attacking is like the basic part of the game, and it is like single-handedly the hardest part of the game to get good at.
And I wanted to bring up Nethroi to just stress that it's not just what card am I going to draw, it's what action am I taking with my hand, my board, and my deck to further my game plan, or to find that 1 or 2 paths to victory.
And in Commander, the political element is also consideration. It's like, if I play this card, like I need both these cards on the battlefield next turn. If I play this card, there's going to be a huge target on my head and everyone's going to hate me. So I'm not going to play it this turn, even though I could.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it's something I would stress in Commander players too. More broadly in Commander, know how you're going to win the damn game.
Right.
Have a game plan, have a finisher, have ways
For the love of God, please.
Yeah, have a way to bring the other 3 people at the table to not being alive. But in Commander, you need to think about your game plan, but you need to think about your outs, and that's one of the things I love about a singleton format. When you can pack your deck full of interesting things, you can have a lot of outs. You can have a lot of things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's a huge consideration point for deck building. I feel like, because you can really value cards based on, like, if I drew this late game, would this be something that, like, would win me the game? Would this be something that I drew? If I draw it turn 1, is it valuable? But if I also draw it turn 8, can it finish the game for me?
Oh, and it's some great silver bullets, or those cards that are optional, or not optional, the cards that are not always great, but sometimes have those really key places, and that's why I really like
Fall of the Titans is a good example of a card that's not necessarily good to draw early, but is certainly out.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that even in limited, my encouragement, it's the standard to me, the gold standard of out is like a fireball. Is that X spell? It's the I'm flooding. My creatures are dead. Their board say, "What do I do? Where's my fireball? Where's my fireball?" Boom! There's it is. 10 to the face. Get it?
Or overrun cards.
Yeah, no, overruns or other ones are like sleep effects. And that's the other thing. It's not always about playing aggressively. So, like, if sleep, which is a sorcery for blue and 2, tap all of your opponent's creatures they don't untap. If the game's getting real grindy, and you know you've got to sleep, maybe you aren't aggressively attacking. Maybe you're playing real cautious. You're taking some extra damage. You aren't putting a creature into block, even if it looks like it might be a trade, because maybe they've got a trick. You're going to play really cautiously, because you know that if you get that sleep and you keep your board full, you'll win with your sleep. So it's not always... It's not a, like, aggressive or defensive mindset. It is a willingness and a flexibility to adapt your game plan to what you need to do to win with your remaining resources.
Which I feel like is why cards that have card draw on them, especially commanders, that are planeswalkers that let you scry and stuff, are like really good late game, because they can just draw you out.
Yes. I mean, I know it's stupid to point it out, but like one of the reasons that card advantage is good is because it gives you options, not just resources.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, and I'm glad that scry being evergreen, having repeatable sources of scry, be it a planeswalker, be it a land. There's a reason that these cards are consistently tournament quality cards, because card advantage and card selection allow you to play to your outs. They facilitate you doing that. And that's if you watch, I would also recommend people to watch other people play Magic with good commentators. I know Wizards' state of, like, I don't even know. I was going to say Pro Tour. I don't know what it's called. I don't know. Wizards, get your shit together. But watch it. When you watch high-level Magic with good commentators who are in the know, they will talk about this. They will look at the board state and they go, what does so-and-so need to draw to come back, to close this out, to do that? It's easy to be like, oh, you need to play 3 turns ahead, whatever. It's like, thinking about future turns is very important. But it's just it's the best place to start is thinking about, when things are bad, what are the top... And if the top decks are all land, you're going to lose.
Right.
So you've got to... I mean, and that you don't want to... You want to... It takes time and practice to learn when to do it. Because if you're kind of teetering, or the game's kind of in the midpoint, you don't want to start making way too aggressive decisions. And like I think Lily brought up tunnel visioning. When you have multiple outs, because there are multiple paths to victory, try to keep some open. Right. But it's learning when that those paths have narrowed, and that your decision making has to maybe become more non-traditional. Focus. I think that's the best way to put it. Thank you. Focus. Specialized.
When you are on the other side of this, it is going to feel like your opponent won because they made a lucky top deck. And while that is true, you cannot understate the willfulness and skill it can sometimes take to put your opponent into that position where a top deck gut shot will kill them.
That was Louis Scott Vargas, right? Back in Eldrazi. Yeah. Louis Scott Vargas, Eldrazi. Oh. I'm going to see if I can dredge that up.
I remember the thing, but like, yeah, it's a lucky top deck, but setting yourself up to be able to capitalize on that luck is not luck.
Exactly.
And if I may make a point about outs as well, like the interesting side of this is instead of when you're not looking at it from your back foot, but you're looking at it from their back foot, one of the beauties of Magic is like you get to, when you're playing a lot, you get to know the format that you're in, the popular cards in the format that you're in, what they could possibly be playing in their deck that makes sense for what they're doing, the common strategies for that. And you start to get in a place where you get to think about what their outs are, like what could they be playing that could be that gut shot.
And oh boy, it feels real good when you're in the position to go, okay, I know they're digging for a board wipe. I'm going to hold a few haste creatures in my hand. So, oh, look at that. I'm putting the pressure. I'm still moving towards victory. I have on a clock. Oh, they board wiped me. Haste creature kill you anyway. Boom. And that's where you get that interplay. And so it's a great feeling to get that Keen top deck. It's a great feeling to also go, oh, you dug up your fireball. That's why I've been saving this counter spell when all these other things I could have countered, because I knew you were going to try to get me with that.
No, that's like, it's part of the mind game. And even if you're not literally bluffing with what you have in hand, like that whole thing where you're keeping creatures back, where like you're basically creating a situation where your opponent doesn't understand that what they think is an out is not an out.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are playing to take advantage of that particular out, and that ends up not being correct, then they are making decisions that are good for you.
And this is just such a great example of that's what you just outlined is very complicated, and like in that this is such an interesting topic because it is important. It's key. Pros do this. Successful Magic players do this, and you can get really in depth and break into that. Like, what are my outs and what are my outs if they have these outs? But at the earliest, beginningest levels, it's know your cards, know your plan, and be able to adapt your plan when things start going poorly.
It's pretty like important is while you're playing to just be thinking pretty much constantly, well, how am I going to move from where I'm at to winning?
Yep. Okay. I think unless anyone has anything else, I think we nailed the crap out of that.
Yeah, I think it makes a good segue into the post show, maybe talking about Wizards taking away streamer early access to cards. So
yeah, I want to talk about that. So if you want to catch said post show, all you need to do is give $1 a month to the Patreon. Then you get the post show, the mid show break, which this week we talked a little Magic. Even there. So if you want that $1 a month on Patreon, you get to also watch the show live if you'd like. Heckle us, skip the commercial break. If not, we still appreciate you watching. We appreciate you tuning in. We will catch you all back here in 2 weeks with more MTG Study Hall. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and make sure to remember who you are. Thanks, everybody.